What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the CRWN Cinema Podcast. In this episode, we are going to watch the new and controversial movie, Leave the World Behind. This movie was produced by President Barrack Obama and has conspiracy theorists foaming at the mouth because of it. If you haven't seen this movie is about a family vacation on Long Island that is interrupted by two strangers bearing the news of a blackout. As the threat grows, both families must decide how to best survive the potential crisis, all while grappling with their own place in this collapsing world. In this episode, we will talk about how we felt about the seemingly anti-human themes inside of this movie. We break down the many examples of the terrible and lazy writing in this movie. And we confront the lies this movie tells you about how humans act in times of crisis. Spoiler alert, because there are spoilers in this episode. If you care about that type of thing, and enough of me blabbering, let's get into the episode. Enjoy. You watched this, Gray? You seen it?
Yeah, in a sense.
What do you mean?
I mean, I went to the Cowboys game on Sunday. Got my heart shattered.
Great game.
Yeah, went back to the place that I was residing and had a couple more beverages to numb the pain, and everybody else went to bed and I wasn't ready, so I put on a movie. So I watched this.
You remember it?
Yeah, I also remember waking up and I, for whatever reason, was reading a newspaper and was like making notes in it. So
You were reading a newspaper?
yeah.
This is real. Like, you literally were reading you woke up and came to...
This is, I mean, like, in my state of numbness, like, yeah, I guess apparently at one point picked up a newspaper. I was at my sister's place and kind of wrote down some notes on whatever.
Do you want to share the notes? Do you remember what you were writing?
It had to do with Bitcoin. And it seemed pretty interesting.
This movie got to you, bro.
No, it had nothing to do with the movie. It just more had to do with the fact that, like, I had some drinks.
Was it after you watched the movie? This
was, like, in between the movie. This was, like, an intermission, I think.
You sure you didn't get brainwashed by this movie?
Who knows? If that's the case, then what happens if you get brainwashed and then you go back and watch what made you brainwashed?
You probably get triggered and kill us?
Or I just come back to being the normal guy.
All right. Double
just
dose.
Good old Gray.
Okay. It is odd, though, that a former president was involved in a movie about the world going to shit. I mean, I guess it makes sense.
I think he advised on like what the policy would be if that actually happened.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense that if you want to get the truth and
it's good marketing.
Definitely good marketing. I wonder how much he made from it.
Obama?
He's written a best-selling memoir signed a deal with Netflix to produce films and television series.
So does that mean he like found this story and was like, yeah, let's make this movie?
Obama?
Yeah. He has a Netflix deal.
Maybe he's just about to produce more movies.
I mean, you've seen the one...
He went from president to movie producer.
Upgrade or downgrade?
Well, he's kind of taking the opposite approach of like, Ronald Reagan? I think Ronald Reagan was like involved with movies at some point in his career before he became president.
Trump was involved in movies before his presidential career.
Was he?
Yeah, he was in like Home Alone, The Apprentice TV show.
He was in... I don't know what The Apprentice TV show is, but I know he made a cameo in Home Alone 2.
He's been like in a bunch of cameos.
But wasn't Ronald Reagan like an actor?
I think he was a legitimate actor.
Yeah.
All right, what do you expect, Gray, from this movie? Think it'll be good, trash, crazy, trippy?
I think it's just it's gonna be one of those movies where it's like, what would you do if this were to actually happen? Because it's set in the modern time, and I think it's probably just going to show like where we're at in society, how we would react if this were to happen tomorrow. So
yeah, we'd be fucked because even our cars have, if like an EMP went off and shut off all electronics, all of our cars start with electronics.
It's always interesting to think about like how we are now and like how much we use technology, how much we depend on it. If it were to just get shut off, what kind of survival skills do we really have? that we might not even know about because we've been so sheltered by technology. So I think this movie will probably show that.
Yeah, I mean, think about countries when they go to war. It appears that humanity and humans can just kind of switch their brains real quickly to go from being civil to being like ready to go to war.
Yeah, and I'm, gonna protect mine.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
I mean, if somebody's, it's life or death, you're gonna.
It's also kind of interesting to see. I'm trying to think how to put this, but like people that might not market it as much. Like there are some people that I think about this more than others, so they've been like more
preppers.
prepared.
Yeah. Preppers. They got bunkers. They got ammo for days.
Even if it's not that extreme, but like people that are always just scared by like what they see in the news. And so like if this were to happen, like they've been mentally preparing for it more than a guy like me. I'm just kind of rolling with the punches. I'm like, if this were to happen, I'll adapt accordingly.
Yeah. After we watch it, I want to see what's your plan if this were to happen.
What's my plan? Okay.
After we watch the movie, though.
Okay.
All right. Speaking of which, let's go watch it.
All right.
And we're back. We just watched Leave the World Behind. That movie did a really good job of keeping you curious while also giving you nothing.
One would say.
Like it literally,
maybe you thought that.
I was interested the whole time just to find out what was happening because it's an interesting topic and they keep like teasing you with these secrets and they just literally tell you nothing. Like they just lead you on to nothing. You didn't even see the ending.
I saw the ending a couple nights ago, but I saw the ending.
Drunk as hell.
No, I remember. Sure. Yeah. She watched the Friends rerun.
That's how it ends? You get nothing?
Yeah.
Scott, talk to me.
No. Scott's not the talker.
I want to hear. Scott's pissed.
Piece
Scott's
of shit
mad.
movie.
Right. Scott thinks it's a piece of shit movie.
I agree.
I'm sure Scott will interject at the more appropriate times.
Thank you.
Unless you're just totally ready to just go in.
I mean,
there we go.
the dialogue was pissing me off.
Trash dialogue.
They like try to have these moments, like real life moments. You can see where they're getting at, but they just don't hit.
Now, like the beginning, whenever she gives that speech out the window, she says she hates people.
Yeah.
That little speech, it's like, what the fuck are you even talking about?
Would one say it's just forced?
Yeah, so forced.
She's looking out the window, and she's just noticing something that anybody around the world or America can just generically see, which is people going to work. That's what she's seeing. That's what she's talking about. She's saying these people are going to their jobs and they're thinking that they're making a difference in the world. Now, while you might hate on how, I guess, generic that might look, you could also respect the fact that it is just the reality. You're seeing the masses like ants.
Yeah.
Just get up and go do their job to make sure that everything functions smoothly.
Yeah.
But you don't like that.
No, because the movie takes this stance assuming that we all think that humanity is evil and that we think that humanity is bad. Like, it just
Correct.
seems like the theme of it is just that this is the truth. Everybody believes that humanity sucks and we're destroying the world.
So going forward into that, yes, I agree. I don't like that they do that.
Yeah, it's just a weird stance. It's just, it doesn't sell it to me because I don't believe that.
Correct. And we can get deeper into that as we keep going. But I think in a way it's also showing that like people are mad because we have reached this point in society where we think we're all so connected through social media, internet, anything. But at the end of the day, like, do you really think your neighbor's going to, like, take care of you? Do you think the person that you follow and admire on social media is going to take care of you in a time of need? Probably not.
That's a good perspective when
Probably
it really comes down to it.
I'm trying to be the open perspective, considering the fact that you two just did not like this movie.
I went into it, honestly, I went into it a little negative. If I'm going to be honest.
That's okay. That's fine. That's okay. Although that's not
tried.
what we're about.
No, we're
at
not.
Crown Cinema. But at the end of the day,
I tried to go into it. I was trying to let my preconceived notions go to the side.
The preconceived notion going into this movie is that we're all so connected in society that we don't even really get to know our true neighbor.
Yeah.
I would say. And so like it ends up like getting to this depressing point. And it's like, like, do you really care about what I'm going through, or are you just liking my Facebook post?
Yeah. And it kind of shows you the movie didn't take this stance, but you saying that kind of reveals whenever something bad like this happens, the only people that matter are the people close to you. Like, you can only affect and help the people around you, and that's who you need to cater to.
But I would say let's slow the roll and let's go through the movie. Okay, so she doesn't like people.
Yes.
In fact,
she hates people.
It's the line.
And the movie always shows you, it's like always taking these, anti-human stances, and they're kind of just virtue signaling all the things that humans are doing bad, like their little recycling on the beach. There's a few others I can't remember, but I remember the recycling on the beach just like out of nowhere, like a sweeping shot showing the recycling of how disgusting humans are. It was just so much anti-human. So yeah, she's anti-human.
Yeah. Okay. So I would argue that there is a decent amount of this propaganda that you guys like probably are just not big fans of. But at the end of the day,
you guys as me and Scott, or
yeah, you too.
Okay. Fuck you.
What?
Listen, so there's like this propaganda that they're showing in the movie that I think are trying to piss off people that don't agree with the initial narrative of the movie. But at the end of the day, I think that they're just trying to show this is where we are in the world. You're wondering, how could you think that? How could you have this opinion? And so think about the daughter of the girl. What's her name? I don't know her name.
I don't know.
Are you talking about the father and daughter?
Friends girl.
Duo?
Yeah, no, the light skin.
Oh.
Daughter?
Rum.
What? Did they say her name one time in that movie?
Is it Rum?
Oh, sorry, Ruth.
Oh my God, they did say Ruth.
Right, okay. So anyways, Ruth is kind of being the voice of the modern college student that
woke,
you see. Right, woke, everything. She's questioning everything from the moment it gets presented to her. You can dislike it, but at the end of the day, this is just how, if the world was ending, or if the country was under attack, you're seeing somebody who has questioned every single step that they've been granted or has taken, how they respond to it.
What do you mean?
Like, she gets to the door, and the father, Ethan Hawke.
Wait, Ruth goes to what door?
Like when they first show up to the house.
Okay.
Yeah. So like pretty much like the beginning. Like they show up to the house. They're like, this is our house. And so like it's going off the woke media narrative that like, oh, they don't like this family because they're black. And she's like kind of exploiting that. She's like, yeah, it's his house. Like, she's like dropping all these lines, whatever. But then like as you keep watching the movie, it's like, no, realistically, you showed up to the house at like 1 a.m.
Yep.
I don't really care who you are. This is weird and I'm uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although I would feel a lot more comfortable if the person that knocked on my door was dressed in a nice suit that was tailored.
Mm-hmm. Who also had the keys to the house, who knew exactly like where to go, like
the name of the person, the email, he knew her name.
But again, like you also have to think like, listen, I mean, there are real con men out there on this planet.
Sure.
I mean, They're good. I mean, he could have interrogated this person for months. Who knows?
Sure, but
there's ways around it. But at the end of the day, like, she's exploiting, like, oh, like, you don't want us in our own house because we're black. Like, she's defending her perspective, and then Angelina Jolie's character.
Nope. That's not her name.
What's her name?
Julia Roberts.
Pretty close. Julia Roberts is looking at her like, no, I don't give a fuck who you are. I have my whole family here. And I have a young daughter and a young son. Like, this is just, there's no way that I'm letting strangers into my house.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter, like, and then he doesn't have the wallet on him. He doesn't have his identification. And,
yep.
you know, so...
I would have said
they do a good job of defeating the narrative of, like, a white family won't accept a black family into the household.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, but she's just negative from the get-go. Like, there's no real reason. Like we just discussed, all signs point to them being truthful. And also, if I was at an Airbnb and I was talking to a guy named George, and this guy shows up and says his name is George, who knocks on the door, says it's his place, opens the liquor cabinet, I'm going to be like, yeah, you can stay here. This is your house.
Okay, but think about it.
Thanks for the $1,000.
Okay, but think about it. Okay? Think about it. Think about it. He shows up. He doesn't have any identification.
I recognize that.
Yeah, he doesn't have any identification. And then he goes to the liquor cabinet and then messes with the keys. He has to go through, like, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay,
like,
I get, yeah. It could be perceived as sketchy.
Yes. And so, like, that's what the movie's building on. Like, if he had just walked up there and said, if he just walked up there and then just, like, put the key in, okay, that's one thing. But, like, he walks up, he doesn't know which key goes into the lock or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, he even says, my wife always told me to, like, tag these keys.
Yeah.
You know, like, he says it, and it's like, if you're a protective parent, you're going to notice those types of things.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's not totally biased.
Yeah. I wonder if you agree with this, Scott. I feel like if because they're not sure what they're trying to make it out to be. The point, like, you know, they kind of make it seem like they're just racist, and then they flip it. But if they're going to make...
That's what they're trying to go at. I think the movie did a really good job of making it seem like they were going to be really woke. And then there were points where it was like, like, no, there's just, like, how a normal person would act.
But, like, they didn't pick what they wanted to say. Like, if they want to make it the racist standpoint, they should just make them not look like all nice and proper and tidy. I guess maybe that would make him seem like they're racist because there's no real red flags.
Right.
Okay, I guess.
You see somebody show up to your door in a tuxedo, and they claim that they're who they are.
Yeah.
And that they own the house. Okay. You're going to be like Ethan Hawke and be like, yeah, come in.
Ethan Hawke's character sucked.
He sucks, but I think he's pretty much, like, showing exactly, like, what a normal man would do in that kind of situation. That
I disagree.
Okay, why?
The dude is not capable in any sense. Like, he can't even fix the TV. Like, he's like, yo, you're the tech person, not me. I'm useless. He says he's useless.
I'm not getting on that roof.
Yeah, bro, you're a pussy. You're like the man of your house with your family, and you're not going to, like, you go out, drive, don't even get to town, and you get lost and crying in the car.
Yeah, but
like, beg to another man who's holding a gun in your face saying, I'm not a capable man, I need your help.
Yeah, but it's like, it's kind of just showing, like, what technology has done to people.
Yeah.
Because, okay, so I remember talking to my sister about this. It's, like, incredible that my parents can get around Dallas, like the city, without GPS.
Mm-hmm.
Could you?
Not Dallas, but where I live, I get pretty good at driving with no directions.
Right, but they're not where they live, are they?
No.
Right. So, like, it's just weird to think that, like, 30, 40 years ago, people could just look at a map. Like they could literally pull out. My dad, still to this day, will just pull out this big ass map of wherever he's going. I bet your dad does the same thing.
Does not at all.
If he had to.
Maybe, but
it's a dad move.
Your dad does that though still?
Yeah, I mean, what my dad does and what I've like kind of come to learn about like a lot of old school dads is like before they go on a trip, they bring out this big map and they map exactly where they're going to go, what roads. And so even if GPS does get them lost, they know exactly where they're going. But what the movie is showing is that we've lost that instinct.
Sure.
We've lost that survival skill.
Yeah.
Because could you get, like if I were to go to a bar in Dallas and say I'm on this street, you just got to take this road, you got to take this road, okay, and then listen, you're going to pull up to the stop sign and then you go through that and then you got to take a left, like, no.
No, but I would honestly think I could probably figure out if you told me where you're at, what road you're on, and what you're by.
In Dallas.
I bet I could.
In the city.
Maybe not South Dallas, but at least like north up, I could probably figure it out. You probably could too, because you know the roads, the exits. You can kind of get the idea of where you're at. So if you're in communication, you could probably figure it out.
Right, but they lose all communication.
Yes. That's because you're capable and you remember the roads and you know where you're going.
Okay, so let's say...
You're a pussy.
Let's just say you go to Florida and your phone signal goes out. And I'm telling you, hey, meet me at so-and-so, like this place.
Well, obviously not that, but if I drove...
Is that not what's happening in this movie?
No, but if I drove into town, I bet you I could get back to town without a GPS. Probably take some wrong turns, but I could probably get there.
Oh, kind of like, yeah, okay. So I kind of see what you're saying.
I'm just saying, like, this
they're in this, like, small beach area.
You've already been to the beach.
You would have a clue.
Okay. Yeah, you have some idea of where you're going. Like, you don't go halfway down the road you've remember and then turn around and say, I don't know where else I should go.
Right.
It's like, no, keep going, dude. Hit the town. Hit something. I mean, you're on a main road.
What if he's just on a back road that's just like going, which is what it looked like in the movie.
Yeah. So, I mean, it does show you kind of like, it just takes, like I say, it takes just the worst stance on humanity, shows you the worst version of a man.
Yeah.
In this situation.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would say the worst woman, like the wife.
She's skeptical, but resourceful.
Yep.
She understands when this just isn't right.
Yeah, and it just like it's just doesn't seem like there's really a point. I guess maybe the point is just to show that, men are pretty weak right now. So like they showed you a weak man in the situation of how he can't really help his family. If that's what the message they were going to, they succeeded in that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is like somewhat of a message that they're showing.
Because other than that, it doesn't add anything to the movie that I can notice or remember. Him not being capable just... I don't think it adds anything.
Well, he was a pushover from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fact that...
Always he teared up like twice in the first 10 minutes.
I mean, you just think about it, like he woke up and his wife's just like, hey, I packed our bags and we're going on vacation. He's like... okay. All right.
He's like, yeah, I love vacation, but why are we going?
Yeah. And
that's like the Friday Beers video we watched earlier before this podcast, whenever it's like the confrontation, healthy confrontation. Yeah. Like he's like the girl, the wife.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, okay, yeah, I love vacation, but why are we going?
Yeah. And so it kind of just shows like from the beginning, like she's the one that notices that the boat is coming to the beach. And she wakes him up and he's like, oh, I'm sure it's fine. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. That boat's really getting close. But then he like talks to the cops. So like, that's like his manly thing. He's like, hey, like, do you know what that was? And the cop's like, dude, just fucking keep going. How the fuck would I know what's going on? So yeah, there is like the whole, what does the modern man do when the country is under attack? And it's showing it's not much.
Yeah, if you're the modern man that, is
I think because what does his character do? I think he's just a writer. I think
he's
is he a journalist?
He's a professor that teaches English.
He is a
something else.
professor. Yeah.
He's an English teacher or some shit.
Okay, so it's something like that.
Poet.
Like,
he's a poet.
He knows about mythology. That really pissed you off. You didn't like that.
No, that was just like the.
You didn't like that.
That was 3 times in a row. He was just like being weird.
It's probably because the dialogue sucks.
Yeah,
You're
he just
like, fuck this guy.
Yeah, it just like he does all this dumb shit. He's like, oh, it's a good omen if you believe in this type of mythology. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Stop being weird.
He's trying to be romantic with his wife and trying to say like,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's my point.
No, like, bro, he sees the deer as an omen, which historically, mythologically, that is a thing.
He also names some mythology that nobody knows too, which is
right.
That's
but
like the cherry on top.
He's like impressing his wife. She's thinking like, oh, you're so smart.
Yeah, I'm sure she got really turned on by that.
She married him. What, you think he just started saying that shit out of nowhere?
Actually, after that, didn't they get laid? Didn't he get laid after that?
Pretty sure he had sex.
Was that right after? Was that the same scene though?
Scott, what you got on deer?
I have something to say on deer. Yeah, wait, let me just say this first.
Okay.
Why was the climax of the deer? They're all surrounding Ruth, and then she's just scared, and you're like, okay. And it keeps cutting back to that, and you're like, all right. And then a buff deer.
The boss deer.
Comes out into the middle, and he's like, let me at her.
Like the Lion King.
What is the point of that?
I don't know. What is the point of the deer? Honestly. Like, what's the point of the animals? Like, they kept saying, I think they know. Okay, but what are they? They're just going to group up and stare at you? What the hell? Yeah, it's just...
Flamingos just start flocking in a pool.
That's what I'm saying. It keeps you super curious about what's going to happen, what's going on. You want to know the information, and they don't give you anything. The movie ends with no resolution.
Right. Because... Okay.
But if you're going to tell a story, have them, like, commit to something. Like, okay, we're going to go do this. And, like, the story ends. Like, they made a decision and they did something happened. Instead, they were just like, oh, this is what's going to happen. Maybe a civil war.
Yeah. So one could say that they're going off of this civil war and they're not giving the ending because, like, the movie's trying to say, like, this is where we're going. This, like, could just be the future and we don't know what happens. So it's like the movie's trying to, like, tell us something, which, again, we knew going into this movie that it was big time for conspiracy theory.
If Obama slaps his name on a movie like this, it's conspiracy heaven.
Right. So conspiracy theorists see this. Like I said, I got a close associate of mine that told me not to watch this movie. He said, no, this is just the higher-ups saying...
Did he watch it?
That No, he refuses. He refuses. He was like,
he's
no.
going to be pissed.
Yeah, he's so mad that we're going to make this podcast. He's going to be so mad.
I'm going to text it to him.
Right. But...
Hey, bro, don't forget to check out our podcast. Just dropped.
But with that being said, there are people that believe that the government or the higher-ups, the elite group, they will put a movie out there like this to just slap it on our face because essentially we can't do anything.
What's it called, Scott? What's that term?
What term?
When they, like, the conspiracy term of the government putting this stuff out to show you what could happen.
Yeah. No.
It's something like where the whole point of it is that the government will put these out. The conspiracy is the government puts these stuff out to tell you what's going to happen, so that way when it happens, you're not as shocked. You already kind of expect it because you've seen it before.
Predictive programming.
Predictive programming. They have this coming out, then they have the Civil War movie coming out.
Mm-hmm.
That's stupid.
Fuck yeah, Scott.
Let me say something about the conspiracies.
Hell yeah.
When I like this part though, where they have the Jenga tower up, and they like leave it to go look at the TV, and then Archie, he says they are talking about conspiracies, and he said, the thing about conspiracies is they're usually rooted in truth, and then the Jenga tower falls over.
And Obama made this movie, and he
You get
knows.
that, Gray? You like that one?
I did. I remember you saying that, and I also remember hearing it in the movie and thinking, wow, cheesy. You were thinking the same thing?
whole
It's a
thing
cool
is
little
cheesy.
jab, like kind of like an Easter egg a little bit.
Yeah.
But a lot of corniness, a lot of just shitty dialogue, a lot of camera movement that tried to be artsy and creative that was just so fucking stupid.
Yeah, unnecessary.
Like, how many times did the camera fucking go upside down?
The upside down was kind of fucking with me. I thought
it was trying to be artsy for no reason. Like, they didn't have any motive to do what they were doing. They were just doing it to look cool. It felt like maybe they had some reasons, but from what I saw,
no.
it just seemed like it was just fucking to look cool. Because this is an art movie. We're creative.
Yeah. We're just showing what could happen.
Yeah.
You know? Let me think. Okay. So I thought it did a good job of showing of like where modern youth is as far as like how kids are now. Because we are in the day and age, it's very heartbreaking to see. But watching like how many kids are like iPad babies, it's very sad to see that started probably over 10 years ago, and now we're starting to see what those kids act like. And so I remember there was one scene where the daughter, Rose, she gets in, what's the main actress's name?
Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts, thank you. I almost said Angelina Jolie.
Shit,
Anyways, so Rose gets in Julia Roberts' character's bed and says, one, I can't watch Friends. And it's terrible. Everything is wrong. And then she says, two, my anxiety is so bad because like I can't finish this episode. So there's something to be said for like these iPad babies, like they've been grown or groomed to realize that like anxiety is like an excuse.
Yeah.
To just act like a total baby.
And just kind of give in to yourself.
Yeah, and it's like, wait, I didn't get what I wanted.
I'm anxious.
This is a terrible world I live in, and I hate everything. And so it was like, it kind of goes to show what I appreciated in this movie was like this movie showed what a kid might act like if they finally put the screen down. And they just like literally just sat there with their own thoughts.
Yeah.
And it's nice.
She was the one that made the right decision. She's the only one that probably made it out alive.
Right. Which, you know what? That part actually pissed me off. Kind of corny that the iPad baby ended up listening to like her senses and like made the right decision, because Julia Roberts' character was like with the shits the whole movie. And all of a sudden she fucks up?
I don't think she was with the shits.
She was paranoid the whole time, which ended up like being kind of the right decision.
She was trying to be proactive.
She was at least questioning everything that was happening. She was like, no, I don't understand this. Explain it to me. But meanwhile, you got this kid that like puts the iPad down and then sees a bunch of deer, and all of a sudden she understands exactly what to do.
What was her quote she said? What did she say before she left? I'm done.
I'm done waiting. Yeah, I'm done waiting.
Maybe that just shows in a time like this, you got to just take action and start making decisions if you want to survive.
Right.
Maybe that was the point of that.
I just thought it was cheesy that like this little kid,
Yeah, like these
who's just been absorbed in Friends her whole life, Or at least that's how the movie made it seem. Like,
Yeah.
you know, she just turned 13. You find that out in the movie. Like, she turned 13 a month ago. And she's just been absorbed with the Friends storyline. And all of a sudden, Friends gets put down. And she just, like, looks up and immediately realizes, I know exactly how to survive.
Yeah, it doesn't do a good job building these things that happen. Like, they could have developed the girl storyline to make that meaningful. Like, all she did was get friends. And like, we don't give a fuck if she finishes Friends. There's just some basic want that she had. It was like a little funny little joke. And that's how you end the movie.
I thought it was cheesy. I didn't like the ending of this movie. I know Scott didn't either.
Ending was all right.
You liked it?
No, I didn't like anything.
He said it was all right.
Overall, just it didn't hit.
Let's talk about something that I know for a fact Scott didn't like. I don't think he liked it either because we kind of argued about it during the movie. So George goes to this house that he knows the neighbors of, and he walks in. It's the beach house.
Right.
And he walks to the beach, realizes, oh no, this is bad. You know, he sees like a plane has crashed. He sees dead bodies. Then he looks in the sky, and he sees his plane, and it starts crashing. All right, you two didn't like this scene very much.
I might have just changed my mind.
Okay, well,
Keep explaining it, then I'll tell you what I...
okay. So, throughout the movie, my argument is that we're living in a day and age of like where you're just so dependent on technology, even your pilot. So maybe the pilots thought they had like a couple 100 miles to like make it somewhere because technology told them that. And then all of a sudden it shuts down. And then sure, they're on the ocean, they could see the land, but they don't really take into factor that like the gas is like pouring out.
No,
So they don't know exactly how to land the plane. And so they think that, okay, we have like this much time, we have this much land until we can safely, or at least try to land the plane on the water. But then the plane just like starts going down.
Yeah, because what happens in the scene is that the guy walks up, the plane crashes there's a bunch of dead bodies, and then another plane comes and crashes in the exact same spot that first plane crashed. And the reason why I think I changed my mind is when I think about it, the reason why it would crash in the same spot is because if a plane has the same route, the entire world didn't get hacked. The United States got hacked. So as a plane flies closer into proximity of the service and like electronic hacking system or whatever, as they move closer to the U.S., then their plane shuts off and they start to crash the same. And they would probably land the same place the other one was. So think about it like a bubble over the U.S. So if a plane flies into it, then it shuts off, and that would just cause it to fly in, if that's what the case.
Well, I think the pilot could take control of the whatever the fuck you hold on to.
Yes.
And glide it. Steer and glide.
That doesn't, yeah.
You don't need the gas or the engine to be going.
Yeah, that doesn't solve that issue.
Yeah.
It does solve why they were shut down in the same spot, but yeah, the pilot didn't do a good job of trying to protect his passengers. He's like, all right, boys.
No. What? Okay, so on like your point, you're talking about they're kind of tracking what the last plane did.
Well, no, so like think about like that table is the United States, and around it is like a force field of where the EMP hit or the cyber attacks, where all the electronics are shut off inside of this area. So as a plane flies into it and gets close enough, then its electronics shut off in proximity to the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So then it would cause it to crash.
Well,
because the whole world's not shut down. It's just the United States. So planes are flying across the world over there.
Right, but
it's
like
just in the United States.
A pilot can still control the plane. It can still realize like, okay, not a good space to land.
Yeah, he could. Yeah,
but we don't know how far the EP is like reached. It could be 1,000 miles into the ocean.
It's also hacked. Could have been hacked to crash there.
But the pilot can still control the plane. Like, it can still lift up all this, but like maybe it was like on the same path of a plane that thought that, you know what, this was like a good emergency landing. This looks like it would be a safe place to land. So it already had its trajectory that it was just going to land here and it was going to be safe. And then by the time that a plane is going that far down, it's too late. You can't just lift it up, because then you realize you're about to wipe out a whole neighborhood of people.
I think if you were a pilot, you'd probably land in the neighborhood.
I guess
the water,
I guess it's to each his own.
Because they would be trying to go as far as possible. Like, they're trying to survive.
Do you land close to the ocean, or do you land in the middle of land?
I would take it if this is possible and turn it against the shoreline and just try to crash in shallow water. So that way my people can get out and swim to the shore.
You want to land in like a big field, but I guess water would be a second. Probably.
The issue is that with the big field is that when you hit it, your plane might break and it'll tumble and then you catch on fire.
Just as far as this movie is shown, there's no big land. They're surrounded by trees. So you don't know exactly where you're landing when you land on that, like in this big field of trees. Like, you can either land close to the water where you know for a fact that nobody's about to like just be living there, or you can land in the middle of trees.
Yeah.
Where there could be a neighborhood.
Yeah, I guess.
It's a tough subject. I mean, this could arguably be one of the dumbest things we have talked about because we have no idea how planes work.
No, and it's also just like the biggest issue with it, no matter if it's possible or not, is just that it's dumb as fuck for a plane to crash in the exact same spot. Like, it's crazy enough to see one already crash. It's almost better that you don't see one crash.
But you don't see it. Like, maybe the pilot looked up and realized, holy shit, this is our best option without killing that many people.
I'm just saying, like, in the case of a movie, like, we can figure out why it crashed there, but I'm saying it's stupid to make a plane crash there in the storyline. Like, it's almost cooler to not even have a plane crash there, to just not, or have a second plane crash there, just to be like, oh fuck, what happened to the first plane? You kind of know.
No, you don't, because there's an EMP. I'm sorry. What's up, Scott?
It's just the same thing as the deer. Just weird stuff is happening. It doesn't actually make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that planes go on trajectories. They follow the same path that other planes before them went. Like, okay, we knew that this plane that crashed into the beach was like an hour before me. So maybe the pilot sees, like, holy shit, this plane crashed into the bay, into the beach, because it essentially realized that was really the best course of action. Like, me trying to fly another 20 miles, like, I'm going to kill way more people than if I just crash into the ocean.
No, yeah, I know, I get that, but I'm just saying that writing it in is dumb. Like, that, making
Why?
that
that's how planes work. Like,
no, but you can choose to have anything you want in this movie. You can have a fucking 30 planes crash. You can choose not to, though. So you can choose not to have a plane fall. We're trying to justify the plane in that scene of what the pilot was thinking and why it crashed there. But we really need to be questioning, why do they even have a plane crash there? That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter what the pilot's thought process was. What matters is, why the fuck did they have two planes crash in the same spot?
Because it shows that everything's fucked up.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying it's dumb to have it crash in the same spot, and we have to talk about what the pilot is thinking and like how this would be possible to justify it for not being dumb. But then again, you get the gist of it by just seeing the plane crash. Seeing one plane crash and people dead, you're kind of already like, oh shit, shit's fucked.
Yeah, but no, like, if you understand like how flights work, you understand that like a plane following the same path as another plane is going to be like a couple hours behind, which like he shows up to the crash landing and realizes like, oh shit, like this happened. But like if you just understand that planes follow the same path, that there will inevitably be another plane crash in the same way, because that pilot understands that this is the best course of action. Like, I can't kill a neighborhood.
I know, but that doesn't matter.
What do you mean it doesn't matter? Like,
you can choose to put a plane in the pic. You're writing a story with your own imagination.
yes, but he is showing up to the beach and he audibly sees that like these dead bodies are just scattered around the lands. So he has shown up probably hours after the plane crash, because you never hear a plane crash initially. So what does that mean? That means another plane was on that same exact pathway. So it's been hours. It has to do the same exact thing as that plane.
Okay. Well, if you want to get realistic, if a plane wasn't sending signals back, or the air traffic controller wasn't sending signals back, the plane wouldn't land.
EMP.
Exactly. The plane can't communicate to their landing base. They don't know how the skies look. They don't know what they the planes would know that, hey, the United States is not working right. We're losing connection. We don't have anything. Let's turn the plane around. It's not safe to land.
Turn the whole plane around?
Yeah, find another place to land. Go land in Mexico or Canada.
There's an EMP. They don't have that connection to like.
So if they don't have that connection, they know they can't land in the United States because they're getting nothing.
But what if they get the EMP too late? Which is why he just.
You said hours after the first plane crash.
Right.
The second plane would have known. It's dumb to write it in.
I disagree.
What does it add?
Huh?
What does that second plane crash add to the movie?
The fact that this is so fucked. There are two planes crashing in the same exact pathway.
Did you not think it was fucked the first time when the first plane crashed?
I think the second plane was obviously dramatic effect.
Dumb dramatic effect.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It added like a movie moment, like a big crash where he gets to run away from it.
That was the only point. That's why I'm saying that sucks. Just write in a second plane crash just to have him run away from it. Just do it. I think it's just dumb to have two. Makes no sense. You already had one. Why do you need two? Show the first plane crashing and have it run from the first one.
Anyways.
Yeah, let's move on from this fucking plane.
The teeth scene pissed me off too.
Why?
Because that's the same thing as the plane and the deer. Just like another random thing that you're like, all right.
Well, that one made sense later when we talked about the noise.
Yeah, but it's still stupid.
No, I don't think that one has that stupid to
just
me.
like start pulling his teeth out, and you're like,
him pulling him out's dumb. But like the fact that he lost him, and it's weird that it was delayed. If it was the noise,
it could have been as so simple for him to just go to a sink and just start coughing, and then his teeth like fall out.
right?
Like that is a better way to like do that scene. I'll agree with that. Yeah.
It's almost like they just hired Obama to write it, who's never written a script probably.
No, I mean this guy wakes up and he's just like.
Obama's sitting in the meeting. He's like, "Why don't we have him pull his teeth out?"
Yeah, but
almost all of them, not all of them, but almost all of them.
But like, I think the best way to show that scene is that he's sick, right? And so he like goes to a toilet because he's about to throw up. He wakes up and like he just runs to the bathroom and he just goes to the sink, toilet, whatever, and he just throws up and there's blood, and then all of a sudden there's just teeth in the toilet bowl. I think that's a better way to like 100%. Shoot that. Yeah.
And
instead of him just waking up and just one by one by one, it's like no.
And they foreshadowed him being sick because he said, "I think I covered my ears too late. My head hurts." They just like if they were making if the movie was better, they would have showed you that. They would have had him like, cover his ears too late and it'd be ringing as fuck in the movie, and you're like, you feel.
You know what sucks is because like they tried.
But
no. They show one scene of him like coughing. If you go back and look before the teeth, he coughs.
No, but when we find out that he was affected by the noise and something's probably going to happen when he was like at the dinner table saying, yeah, I think I covered my ears too late. My head kind of hurts. He said that at one point. So
it's
a cheap way to set that up. You could have showed it.
So there's that. And then I'm not kidding when I say he lets out one audible, just like, like,
oh, when you're saying when the noise goes out?
Yeah, like when I think they're like sitting in the living room or something, and he just and like that's it. There's no lead up, because agreed. Like if you're gonna see that and then go rewatch the movie to be like, oh damn, I wonder like how long he was sick. Yeah, and like you just like didn't really pick up on it. Like no, you're right. Like he says what you said, and then he coughs one time. And then the next thing you know, he wakes up and he's just...
It's just so lazy. So lazy. The whole movie's so lazy.
It's not my favorite movie.
They try to trick you with these conspiracies of the kid wearing the obey sign. I don't know what this is supposed to mean, but like the pictures change in the house. Like the white one she saw, like the black and white one, it changed throughout the movie.
Oh, really?
If they were in the same room, it changed.
Right.
Because it turned more white. It looked more speckled than it did before. It was like longer, almost like...
I noticed all those, but yeah, I didn't realize it was the same one changing.
I think... I've heard that from somebody. I don't know if that's true or not, but... And it looked like the same room from the first time. So they try that to make it seem like it's, this conspiracy deep movie, and then they just add all these weird things with the deer and the animals just because nature knows best or whatever. We're fucking nature and we should listen to nature. Just because humans are bad.
I will talk.
Lazy.
I will officially talk about the one scene that I just did not appreciate in the movie. Okay. So the main actress, what's her name again?
Angelina Jolie.
So she goes into the shed because she's looking for her daughter Rose. And she's with
Ruth.
Yeah, Ruth. Her daughter's missing. Mind you, the world is officially like messed up. Like,
yeah,
it's bad.
Confirmed, we're fucked.
It's bad. Like everything's wrong. And they go in the shed, and she's just really mad about the fact that her daughter's missing. And then Ruth has the balls to say like, "Why are you always so mad?" And then, Angelina Jolie, Julia Roberts.
Bingo!
Julia Roberts' character looks at her. She was like, she's like, I don't know. I don't like people. And they end up having this like heart-to-heart moment that's so forced. And the whole time I watched it, I'm just thinking, shut up. Your daughter's missing. She's like gone. You have no idea where the world's ending. You're pretty much convinced that you're under attack and your 13-year-old daughter's missing, and you're getting bitched out by Ruth, who's saying like, why are you the way that you are? Why do you not like people? It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. There are way bigger things at stake right now.
Yeah, who cares about your fucking opinion right now? We got some basic survival instincts to chase.
And she says like, and I guess there's like some kind of redemption. She's like, my mom is dead, but no, we're in survival instincts. Like, I'm sorry your mom's dead.
You ain't thinking about it right now.
No, in reality, it's like, oh my God. Like if this were to happen to me, if I find myself in a shed with somebody like Ruth, and I'm looking for my daughter.
Your fucking daughter.
Yeah. My daughter is missing. The world is ending. And I got this girl like, what are you so mad about? Why are you always so mad? Shut up.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. Get out. Are you not looking for my daughter? Like, if you are not looking for my daughter, then we are obviously not on the same page here. I am not trying to get to know you. I'm not trying to explain my problems. I'm missing my child. And you are not her. You are on the bottom tier of my list of concerns right now.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter's missing. My son is throwing up blood. I don't give a fuck about your world opinions. So I didn't like that.
Yeah, because a writing philosophy that I choose to believe that I've heard, I think, or Stephen King talks about it in his book, and I've heard a few other people talk about it. And they always mention writing honestly, like writing the truth. Like, be honest with yourself, be honest with the world, be honest with this character. Like, what are they actually feeling? What are they actually doing? Like, be honest.
Do you think any normal human beings are having that conversation in that moment of time?
Exactly. So, with that philosophy seems to be proven right in this example with this movie, because a lot of it didn't seem honest, and the movie sucked.
So you don't like the movie?
Nope. Speaking of not liking the movie, why don't we give our ratings? Let's go. Scott, you're up first.
No. I want Scott to go last.
Okay. Oh, yeah, he's the most heated about this.
I will give this movie... I'll give it a 4.5. And that's a heavy 4.5 on the fact that the plot was interesting.
Yeah. You could give... I mean, I was interested throughout it, but then it left me just unsatisfied.
But then through the dialogue and the character development and the execution... Not the biggest fan.
Nope. I'm going to give it I'm going to go just straight 4.
Respect.
4 as well.
Really? Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would never watch it again. I probably wouldn't recommend it. I would probably say if you're curious about what the conspiracy stuff is, just watch a YouTube video. That's probably going to be way more interesting than the movie.
Yeah, YouTubers have done a very much better job of executing what people are scared of.
Yeah, it just seemed like it was a movie made by people that haven't made many movies and people that aren't very talented in their job. The writing was just lazy. They didn't develop the characters. I wasn't bought into anybody. I actually did like the homeowner, the black dude, because he was just like a good guy.
George.
Yeah, George was the guy that was actually going to help. I liked him. He seemed like an honest character. I feel like in times of trouble like this,
you'd want a George.
Yeah, and I think most people would try to be a George, like try to help.
I didn't like that they made Kevin Bacon's character seem like this piece of shit.
He's an American.
Which, in
you're
reality,
a patriot, you're a piece of shit.
If the world is just going to shit, I think it's just pretty well known that you're going to take care of your family until everything's like solved.
And also, if you're a patriot, because he had an American flag, if you're writing honestly, if you're a proud American, you're going to want to be helping out your fellow Americans in times of trouble because the country's under fucking attack.
So thank you for that. Okay. So I will say, I didn't like the spin that they had going back on the shed with Julia Roberts' character and Ruth. They're talking about in times like these, nobody really cares about you. You're just on your own. That's pretty much the message that they're conveying. You should go to a small town whenever tragedy hits.
Yeah.
You know this better than anybody. I mean, you've been through hurricanes. I have been not on that big of a level, but small town in East Texas, when it snows and people are getting in wrecks, I've seen communities come together.
Yes.
To help neighbors that they don't even know who exist.
Because humanity is not evil. People are not bad.
Granted, it's not all good, but it's not all bad.
No, during hurricane season, there was people from Louisiana who drove their boats down to Houston so they could help people and scoop people up and rescue people all throughout the city that was flooded.
My dad from East Texas drove all the way to Houston and got on a boat and just started helping people out.
We knew it was going to rain, so me and my family went to people's houses to help move their shit upstairs so that way they could not ruin all their furniture.
Yeah, and so it just annoys me how out of touch I think Hollywood or famous people might be because the way that they think. is more selfish than the fact that, like, normal people, like, that's just not how it works. Like, communities do come together and help one another. And so I hate this whole propaganda of, like, if the world were to come to an end, you're just on your own. That's just not the case.
If that was the case, civilizations wouldn't be a thing.
Yeah.
Like, humanity's been through so much trouble because it's existed for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still have cities. We still have towns. We all live in a town. We all build a family. We all have a community. That's just what we naturally do. So in times of trouble, you're going to go to your basic instincts, and you're going to get your people together, and you're going to figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, on a small scale, I'm just thinking about, like, the times, like, growing up, like, when it got freezing, snowing, and there were people around, like, our community that were a little worried about being heated. Like, oh shit, do we have enough food? Dude, just come over. All right, we'll ride this out. Like, that's how it works.
Yeah.
For the most part. Like, this is not... Just seeing this movie and seeing, like, how isolated people are, it's more annoying because I'm just like, this is not how it would go in a lot of places in the country.
You're right. It could be like a lot of these Hollywood celebrities being out of touch because everybody out there is out to get you. They want to get fame. They're okay fucking you over. They're okay just breaking their word with you and breaking their integrity to get their fame and success. So they think that the world is shitty because they are all just shitty.
Yeah, and it's like, no. Like, for the most part, people help one another. People don't look at a family in need and are just like, no, if you don't get off my porch, I'm going to blow you off with a shotgun. Like, no, that's just not how it works.
No, if you're being sketchy.
That reminded me, fuck that other scene with the lady that he leaves on the side of the road.
Why?
know? Because that interaction wouldn't happen. She's just screaming in a language he doesn't understand for the whole time.
And he says, I don't understand what you're saying.
She keeps going.
Right. Like, they would come to a general, like, what do you need?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I guarantee you both of them know basic Spanish words that they could figure out a way to communicate somehow.
Regardless of not knowing the same language, there's always the general language of, like, I need help.
Yeah.
Like,
you good? You
yeah.
not good?
Like you figure it out in that time of stress. Like, you're not just going to tell somebody, I don't know what you're saying, and then they're just going to continue to, like, try and communicate in their own language. Like, that's just not how it works.
And literally, what did that scene do for the movie? Just confused you.
Makes him look
Maybe that's
like
the point. Maybe
they're
they're trying to just make this movie just stupid as hell to confuse you, just like how the characters were confused.
I mean, I think it also adds to the thing where it's like no one helps each other.
That too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't really believe that they had the intention of trying to make the movie confusing so they can mirror the theme within the movie of everybody being confused because of the 3 stages of destroying a government.
Yeah, I've been surrounded by pretty much 2 communities. My upbringing, and then, like, even going to college and, like, seeing what our fraternity, like, would do for people if they didn't have a place to stay. It's like, dude, just, like, come here, like, just chill out, like, holy fuck.
And what they would do to each other in the parking lot to defend their buddy.
Yeah. But it's just annoying. I did not appreciate the whole isolation of civilization in this movie, because that's not the majority, I don't think.
Nope. Leave the world behind is a bold-faced lie that sucks.
4.5?
4. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. If you haven't seen Leave the World Behind, I recommend you skip this one. Not really worth it. But hope you guys enjoyed the episode. And go to crowncinemashop.com to get you some merch. And without further ado, we are out.
trying to buy my next meal. Seems all I do is drive. And when the boss man sends my next check,